Holy freaking god! Welcome to Movie Masterpiece. I can't believe after 9 whole years, with more than 3 directors and writers attached to this project, problems with production, and some cast members, we finally can get this masterpiece that came not as fast as our protagonist. Now, before I start, this is a spoiler review, so please go watch the movie first. If you're a DC nerd or a Flash fan, or even grew up with Keaton or Affleck's Batman, this is a much recommended movie for moviegoers all ages. So without further ado, let's get nuts. Now I've waited this movie ever since I knew about it. Ever since DC Fandom 2021, I think. And so the first trailer, I've loved The Flash. Ever since Justice League. Yeah, that one. And finally, after thousands of spaghetti bowls and 15 plus liters of tomato sauce, we finally can get and finally see Andy Muschietti's masterpiece. 2 berries, 4 Batman, and 2 Supergirls? Yeah, we're ready to start. Now let's start with the positives first. Ezra Miller is the star of the show. He plays 2 berries and both are super annoying, but in like a good way. Their annoyingness makes for great character development at the end, at least for one of them. I'm just sad that the DCU is coming to an end, but there is a chance that we could get a Flash sequel. But as Andy Muschietti is confirmed as the director of The Brave and the Bold, the chances are getting much lower. Along with the addition of the Ezra Miller controversy, it's getting much lower, but the chances are still there. As for Batfleck, with his little amount of screen time, he steals every single second he's in. With probably his final outing as the Caped Crusader, he does amazing. Just that suit though, not a big fan. And the CGI on him, we'll talk about that later again. Andy Muschietti handles Batman amazingly, along with Michael Keaton. I can't wait to see what he does with this new Batman. So, I never grew up with Keaton, of course. But let me tell you, I still have chills every time his team appeared. It was just, how do you say it? It's like, here you go, boom, here's Batman. Can't believe how it would have felt for people that grew up to see their childhood hero make it in the big screen again. It must have been like a dream come true for them. Next, Supergirl, probably the star of the show. Sasha Calle is Supergirl. She gives off Supergirl aura, like seriously, like it's just, oh my god, I love her. Especially when she shouted in this scene. What did you do? I hope she's also Supergirl in the DCU, even though it's not that likely. I hope they still can bring her in somehow. Next, for the villains. Zod himself, he serves as like a good side villain type of villain, but personally, I've never watched Man of Steel yet. But sure, he's entertaining. But then, Dark Flash. I'll talk about him more later. Moving on from the characters, let's talk about the glorious cameos. Well, some of them are like more glorious than others. The first one, I kinda knew this was coming, but after all the rumors, I wasn't even sure anymore, so this caught me off guard. And her theme, even though I'm slightly tired of it, it still is majestic. Welcoming the legendary Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. I think she was used nicely as a small cameo, but as her final outing as Wonder Woman, it's a bit disappointing because she did such a great job in adapting the character. Next, a little bit of a more disappointing one, I would say, is Christopher Reeves. Why, you ask me? It's the CGI. Just let the man rest, man. Seriously, only CGI let me down, along with the Supergirl next to him. Yeah, but you know, I'll take it. Next was the most glorious, spectacular, extravagant cameo ever, introducing Nicolas Cage as Superman. I'm sure all theaters around the world clapped and cheered for this surprising cameo. But oh wait, why, Andy? Why? Why did you have to spoil this? This could have been like the cameo of all cameos, and you had to spoil. You've got Tom Cruise, and if I'm not wrong, Stephen King promoting this movie, and you still had to spoil it? But seriously, Nicolas Cage as Superman fighting a giant spider. seriously freaking amazing. Just the CGI bothered me a little bit. If Nicolas Cage just appeared, even though he's a bit more older, it would have been so just wow, mind blowing still. Next, there are other cameos that I'm not like too much familiar with. Like, I'm pretty sure that's George Reeves as the first live action Superman during the 50s series, and Jay Garrick, that one that I'm very familiar is Adam West. Just amazing in that small little cameo we saw him. I really thought there were going to be more cameos, but I guess that's just right. And then there was Aquaman's cameo, which is, I guess, just a little bit of like a joke or something, because that contributed almost nothing to the story itself. Not like some mysterious character was gonna appear at the end, but no, it just ends like that. But whatever. Another positive is how they made their multiverse. They have a completely new multiverse, very different from the MCU's. With the MCU, you have kind of these branch timelines. You can't change your future. You can only change your past, and that would create a branch timeline. So it's like your timeline is a fixed line, but you can create a new universe by going back in time. But this multiverse is very simple and literally explained through 2 strands of spaghetti and 1 cooked spaghetti bowl, explained by none other than Michael Keaton. So to my understanding, it's, for example, Barry went back in time to save his mother, but then he creates like a new universe where not only the past of his mom is different, but also the past of other people, like the past of Aquaman's dad, the past of this universe's Batman. So it's like you disturb like an absolute point in time that creates a brand new universe. And yeah, I really do wish they did expand this multiverse knowledge for more movies, but too bad. How Keaton gets introduced to is so fun, like really I love it. 2 Barrys versus an old Batman, just a normal ass Friday. The ending itself is also another great cliffhanger that we don't even know if we're gonna get a follow-up or a sequel to. With Barry's dad freed from prison because of a few tomato sauce cans get switched to a more upper shelf, we get a return, or you could say a chance of redemption from none other than George Clooney. Yes, that Batman from the hit sequel Batman and Robin. It hit so much that the director himself had to apologize for this movie. Now, I really do wish we do get a sequel, but once again, not so likely. Something I do like that I feel is quite lacking in recent comic book movies, excluding Wakanda Forever, is the dramatic stakes that actually hit you. The ending where Barry had to take that tomato out of his mom's cart hits you with a bullet, and is so devastating. A lot of times we see Flash as like a cheerful superhero, but he has a really tragic story. In this adaptation, he loses both parents in one day. He's just trying to get his mom back, but at the end, he also has to let go of the past. He has to let go of someone he cares so much to save a whole multiverse. Overall, really, the emotional stakes that we do hit so bad a lot. But moving on, the comedy as well hits amazingly a lot of times. Probably the funniest DCU movie we have, yes, including Shazam. Both of them. From Barry running weirdly after losing his powers to young Barry going Speedy Gonzalez around the city naked. It really hits well, and somehow it even works with the emotional stakes. The movie is also surprisingly really faithful to the Flashpoint comic. I thought after the trailer said it was far from the Flashpoint comic they were adapting, but now after watching it, yeah, it's the best version of the Flashpoint story for me. The simple lines of I love you more, I love you first is heartbreaking. At the end of the story, when you know Barry can't do anything to save his mom, everything he does will just lead to more destruction, so his mom can only live in his memories. And that is the most depressing thing that can happen to a superhero. They have all these powers, but not the power to save their loved one. Other superheroes like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Batman all face the same tragedy, and that is just heartbreaking. Finally, to end these positives, is no matter how bad the CGI is, or how much drama or controversy the movie that generated, or how long it took to make this, it can never distract it from a good movie. I actually nearly cried during that opening scene when Barry started running after the title card, knowing this is one of the final movies to end the DCU, that this era of movies were coming to an end. The first negatives is the most literally obvious one, which is the CGI. It's so bad at some times, and it's a bit more better at some others. I feel it's the worst when he's saving babies, and when he's starting to run from his house after he calls his dad before he enters the Chrono Bowl. After years and millions of dollars spent, I can't believe it's still this bad. And I don't buy Andy's excuse. He says that we're seeing a lot of things from Barry's POV, so that because of the Speed Force, everything's distorted. Next negative is the rushed plot points. There are a lot of rushed points in this movie, such as the Dark Flash point, Supergirl joining the team, and just time with Batfleck. It could have been longer, really. We need a Muschietti cut of this, maybe like 20 to 30 minutes longer with added better CGI VFX. Seriously, we need more Kara. Now talking about Dark Flash more, he's not all like that good. As the main villain, he has a screen time of about like 2 minutes. I know it's interesting that young Barry doesn't give up and everything, but he needed a bit more time, and there you go, a perfect villain. Finally, the final negative is the ending itself. Now I love the ending itself as a cliffhanger type ending for a possible sequel, but they missed an amazing chance at introducing a new Batman instead of George Clooney coming back as Batman. They could have just showed his legs or something, and I heard that was an ending that was scrapped before, but I really wish that Anonymous Bruce would appear. But really, that's all. The Flash overall isn't a perfect movie, but it's a story about a son trying to save his parents, or you could say, right the wrongs of the past. But ultimately, he realized that the best thing he could do is cherish memories with them. A little multiverse sprinkle into it as well. I would overall rate this movie a 10 out of 10, yeah. You could say a movie masterpiece. I guess I'll start making these segments where I talk about movie masterpieces. Oh, well, this will also act as a soft reboot for some of this channel. I think the multiverse also isn't too crazy as Across the Spider-Verse, or not as underwhelming as Multiverse of Madness. It's just right. So you just hope so much that the first year of the sequel, but wait, the DCU's rebooting